I was a great player. I knew that. Everybody knew that. I was a terrible teammate. That one clip is what's on people's tongues when they're explaining, like, oh, Cam, like, oh, you didn't double. I'm so embarrassed of that clip. I'm haunted with that daily.
What happens if you put Jalen Hurts on one of those Carolina Panthers teams?
I don't want to play that game. Not a lot of quarterbacks went into Alabama and was successful. That was your Heisman moment. You knew it. When you think about Texas A&M and you think about Texas, who's the superior team?
Texas.
When you think about Auburn and you think about Alabama, who's the superior team? We were the heads of the underdogs.
We're living in the good old days. Take a look around. Ain't it funny how feels like we're in the good old days. Go and grab a cup, go and fill it up. Cheers to living in the good old days.
No one hands you a map when you're navigating your glory days. You truly have to create your own route, and I can't think of anyone who took the wheel and ran with it harder than Cam Newton. They call him Superman for a reason. A Heisman, national championships, an NFL MVP. This is a guy who took his glory days to levels that most athletes can only dream of. He's opinionated, polarizing, and truly, truly one of a kind. I can't wait for you to hear this conversation. This is Glory Days with Cam Newton. Pleasure to welcome my brother, Cam Newton, to the pod. Yes, sir. You know, we obviously share, one huge thing in common, winning that trophy and being a Heisman Trophy winner forever. But what do you remember most about that night, getting to hold that trophy up and that award and finally being like?
Honestly?
Yeah.
All right. So the night I won the Heisman Trophy, I remember, it's like for visual purposes, home alone in New York, being in a stretch limousine with a big pizza. Swear to everything that I love. And in that 20-passenger limousine was my older brother and my cousin. We were there, and it was like, man, we got this car all night, bro. Like, what we gonna do? And I was like, man, shoot, man. Let's go to the club. Lo and behold, we ended up in a little special club. And one of the patrons that was working there, she was like, I just seen you. I said, It was a night.
I had probably my 3 or 4 closest boys who've played high school football with me.
Yeah.
And I remember just they move you from your little room once you win. They put you up on the top floor, give you the big suite. I remember just sitting there, just dropped a bucket of beers right in between all of us and just sat and looked at Times Square, trophy right in front too, and just kind of like, man, this is it.
The only regret that I do have, though, well, two. I hated that, and I held this resentment for so long. My father wasn't there to receive the award with me, a person who was the most influential person in my life still to date. That's one. And then the second, I was so like, okay, what's next? What's next? Got the trophy. It's like, all right, I got to go win a national championship. I didn't even get to really enjoy the national championship because right after that, the team went back to Auburn. I went to LA. We did Jalen.
Tonight Show and stuff.
Right?
Yeah.
Or David Letterman, one of the two. And at that moment, my college career, and that's really a question for you too, bro. When did you no longer feel like a college athlete? When did you feel like, bro, I'm a professional athlete without the professional funds? But it was the responsibility, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely, like after that first season was done and you're like riding the hype and the wave like into the next season.
Yeah.
To win the Heisman as a freshman, like I remember, everybody pretty much does this. That little period, first you do the ESPN Awards, and then you go to the Heisman, and then it's like,
the ESPN Awards is in Orlando, and then
they take you to New York. So it's just like a whirlwind, and then you guys are getting ready for a national championship. We were getting ready for a bowl game against Oklahoma. And for me, as that first season kind of ended and then you're riding all the hype and everything into the next season, that's when things started to feel like I wasn't just a college athlete anymore. As this next season is being built up and built on your back and everything that's happened the year before. You got another rematch coming with Saban and Alabama. Like, it just stopped feeling like college football again.
Yeah.
It's just started feeling like it was professional ball without the funds, like you said.
Did you feel pressure?
I don't think I really felt pressure. I felt like I was in like a glass jar, and everybody was just it was all the eyes and the attention. I wouldn't say it was pressure. It was just felt so much attention everywhere.
Yeah.
Just felt like I could never. There was no off.
Yeah.
Even in an apartment, like even at the crib, like there was just no off. Anytime you step out that door, it was like on. It was suffocating.
Yeah. And then it's like for people who don't know, College Station is not a major Texas city. College Station is built off of the Texas A&M ecosystem.
For sure.
But what I had that you didn't, I went to the league after.
Yeah.
You had to double back.
Yeah.
It would have been tough. The hype is not even a word for this particular, experience that I'm talking about. It's like, do you have the mental stamina to block out and not lose yourself? Because everybody wanted Johnny Manziel to be this polished person, but people forget, bro, I'm still in college. You know what I'm saying? Like, even for me, I was working on a Under Armour deal, nothing illegal, but it was just, I was an Under Armour school. They wanted to make me an Under Armour flagship athlete, marquee ambassador. I couldn't even wear a Nike Heisman pullover. Man, it was a part of that package that they give you for winning the Heisman. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, man, you're just doing this. And I just kept thinking to myself, it's like, man, I want to wear this shirt. I just want to wear it. You're worried about the left side of the shirt. I'm worried about the right side, because it was like Heisman Trophy and then it was a Nike thing. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, I don't know if I could have did another 365 with that type of pressure of, you just want to go kick it with the boys, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, man, y'all come over. And then all of a sudden, as you're having people in your space and people are pulling out phones, and it's like, it's getting weird in here. You know what I'm saying? Like that. People don't talk about that. Managing the expectations of being a star. You, the Tebows, the Bushes, Lamar, Travis Hunter, like real impact players, not just on the field, but off the field. And, my heart goes out to, knowing Travis personally, but guys that they poke at everything. They poke at your situation. They like, oh, what's your family dynamic? Hey, what's your dynamic? What's your sexuality? Who you're dating? Any dirt on you? And as your little immature brain, or your undeveloped or being developed in the process brain, it may be brain overload. It's like, bro, I just want to go to B-Dubs and get all you can eat wings on Tuesday, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? But you thrust all that attention on a young individual, that pressure mounts, and everybody does not handle that well.
So as you're talking about Tebow, right, as you see this, one of the craziest times in college sports, the mania behind it all, do you feel like that helped prepare you for what was coming your way when it happened to you in 2010?
Yeah, without a doubt. He managed stardom better than I've ever seen, especially at that time. Like, I graduated early. We played LSU my freshman year, his sophomore season. That was the game where his number got leaked, and all night, like all night. I said, bro, just cut your phone off. But he used that as fuel. When he scored, he did the little like, boom. And if you knew, you knew. It was like, oh, okay. And to see him perform and for him to come back and still practice, it's like, yo, I didn't appreciate it then, but as I look back and as I'm that guy now, you start to appreciate, like, yo, he never cowered, he never grimaced, and I learned from that, and I needed that to be a part of my journey to what was going to be me, and I'm grateful for it.
Because it came for you too. The same type of hype and same type of momentum.
Yeah.
Obviously, that year at Auburn, you experienced it yourself in your own right.
Not a lot of people hit that tip of the spear. Bro, you literally, not only the stadium, but you literally have the whole college football world or the football world in your palms. Everything you do is tweeted. Everything, every highlight is just like, boom, it's on repeat. And the hardest thing to do is to keep this small. You can't do no wrong.
Especially with your day-to-day interactions, walking around, how people treat you.
Bro, I could smoke a cigar and listen to your stories all day. Because I knew where you were. And my experience at College Station and your experience at College Station was obviously night and day. When I was at College Station, you know, my teammates would go there, or we would go there to party, bar hop, whatever. And seeing that, 3 or 4 years later, and now you take the college football world by storm, it was like, yo, being in Brenham, you don't have a lot, you know what I'm saying? But then knowing where you were and making that type of impact, and people don't give the credit, or they don't even think, like, what is it like on a Tuesday? What is it like on a Wednesday? When you just want to go, you know, grab lunch or dinner or something. Well, hey, what about if you just want to date? It's tough. It's heavy.
Saw something you said a couple months ago where we were talking about, you know, in Alabama, you know, you have the quarterback of Auburn, the head coach, and the quarterback of Alabama and the head coach.
Yeah.
And you may as well be the president of the state.
Mount Rushmore, for sure.
For sure. Similar feel like that with being in Texas. You know, you have Texas, you have A&M, and those are your two biggest schools that you have. To go and be the guy at one of those schools like that, to take the, you know, college football world by storm, you are the equivalent of the president of the state for the most part. And it's a weird but powerful position to be in.
Yeah. But I think this is what you're not mentioning. When you think about Texas A&M and you think about Texas, who's the superior team?
Texas.
Right? When you think about Auburn and you think about Alabama, who's the superior team?
Yeah.
We were the heads of the underdogs. A&M is never supposed to beat Texas. Auburn is never supposed to beat Alabama. But when you give the forgotten sons or the stepchildren the power now, it's like, oh my goodness. That type of passion is different. And I'm not trying to nuke nobody's power. Going to Georgia, going to Alabama, going to USC, it's just like, okay, yeah, this is what but it's almost like UCLA. A star comes from UCLA to take LA over. Man, what does that look like? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That is where I have a different amount of respect, because you did what you wasn't supposed to do at a high level. And it takes focus, it takes courage, and it takes a whole bunch of steel nuts to walk and be like, bro, I'm just better than you. Humbly, though. But you got to have that mentality walking into games. And at that time, too, when I was watching you play, not a lot of quarterbacks went into Alabama and was successful. That was your Heisman moment. You knew it. And after we won in 2010, that was my national championship. And I don't know how it made you feel, but no other team was going to ever compare to that, number one, the environment, the hostility.
For sure.
And the amount of high-frequency football chess that was being played. You wasn't playing against, you know, a bunch of meatheads that was just going to hit you hard. Yeah, they were going to scheme you up, too. And still winning was something that was, you know, remarkable.
And then you get to a spot later in the season where you get into that Alabama game and you get down.
Yeah.
How do you feel in that situation, that mindset, as you look at the scoreboard and it is 24-7?
Bro, it was 24-0 first. It was like, yo, we had a late touchdown in the first half that made it 24-7. A luck of the draw kind of touchback by Hot Boy or Aaron Carter. All these different things are happening, right? And guys was just making plays. So regular guys was playing above average guys was playing good guys was playing great guys were playing elite. And that's what you need to do for any successful season to be successful.
You know, nobody really knew or expected that 2010 Auburn team to be what you guys were. Right. Obviously, you being the pivotal piece of that. Going into that season, what did you know about that Auburn team that nobody else knew? You had a sense of it in that offseason a little bit. Whenever you get there, they're like, okay, this team can be really good.
I don't think they knew how much I was willing to prove. You know what I'm saying? Everybody says it. It's crazy as I'm talking about recognition and notoriety and just some type of confidence. I then get developed in Brenham where, bro, I'm throwing 5 touchdowns and nobody's recognizing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a scholarship from Auburn because the coach initially was looking at the receiver. We had Dexter Ransom. He was the #1 player in junior college. 6'5", just an absolute stud. And he tore his ACL that year on a screen pass. It was just a weird type of deal. And Curtis Looper came in from Auburn and was like, yeah, but who's the quarterback though? Like, where? Oh, that's him? And that's how it happened. It happened so late in the recruiting process. I didn't get an official offer until after our regular season was over. That's how late it was.
Crazy.
And when I went on my official visit to Auburn, I was already out of school. That's how late the recruitment process was. But even during that time, I took visits to Oklahoma. I took visits to Mississippi State. And I was such a different person. I could care less about the parties. I could care less about the gear. I could care less about the fanfare. It was like, bro, how are y'all going to implement me? I knew what others didn't know because they had 22 returning seniors or returning players. And other programs, you know the value of seniority.
For sure.
And when I looked at their record, I think they went 8-4. And the games that they lost, they were still competitive in them. I'm like, well, if I implement myself into this scheme, I know I can get us to 2 more other wins. Well, my formula going into that year was we didn't have college football playoffs. So if we went to a BCS game, I'm out of there. And lo and behold, you look up during the season, you're 4-0. Man, we gonna grind it out. Now we 8-0. Man, we in the thick of our schedule. We played a good Arkansas team. We played a very competitive Ole Miss team. We played a very good competitive South Carolina team in the regular season. When you start getting those type of gritty wins, and you start to say, man, we 9-0, 10-0, 11-0.
Because there was you guys had a really close call where you guys went on a field goal in that season too.
Yeah, a couple of them, bro. It was so much synonymous to my journey. Just grind it out.
You know, what's the #1 moment for you during that season that defined, you know, who that team was?
I don't know if it's just one, but as you know, the buy-in is real. Buy-in is a very intentional word because buy-in doesn't always need verbal communication. Buy-in is a look. Buy-in is energy. And, you know, the late, great Kobe Bryant used the analogy, when that lion comes nose to nose with you, you better not blink. And we didn't blink. So those memories that we have is just a combination of guys saying, bro, I got your back.
I think, you know, a lot of people would probably agree with this, but that 2010 season is the best individual season by a college football player of all time.
That's dope.
How are you weighing in on that?
I mean, it's awesome.
It's something you see as you like probably look back in time. As it's going on, you don't necessarily know how special
you don't
or what
know.
it
You
is.
don't have nobody that's going to the league on the offensive side. You don't know if anybody's going to get drafted. Those aren't things that you think about. What I've been able to do, especially now in my life, is being able to say, I got everything from football. I'm good with my resume. You know what I'm saying? It's like when we do our test, it's like, all right, pencils down. Man, I'm walking to the teacher with my my Scantron. Man, I feel good about this. You know what I'm saying? With anybody, you dig? And I think I don't have to, always speak about what I've done, but more or less feel vindicated because of the effort that I put into it when nobody saw.
It had to feel good getting that national championship ring after not being given one.
Yeah.
From the Florida Times.
Yeah.
It had to give you a little bit of validation that you went out and got it out of the mud and got it on your own.
Yeah. When I left Florida, I left on my own terms, but it wasn't the best terms with the coach. And even for Urban, who I have the utmost respect for and his success that he's had, he didn't think that I was a quarterback. It was so much rebelliousness in how I wanted to prove, like, yo, I'm going to prove. I got to prove. And I channeled that energy to making me the best player that I possibly can, rather than sometimes people just take that so personal where it's now counterproductive to your overall development. And I did not allow that to happen. I just wanted the opportunity. I just wanted the platform so that I could showcase what I was capable of doing. And it still came down to, my teammates performing as well as myself, performing as well too. And I'm just glad that it did. And we were so close to playing Florida for the SEC championship. I'm glad that we didn't, because it would have been too much emotion.
Hey everybody, it's Johnny Football, aka Johnny Fancash, coming at you to talk about one of my favorite brands, Fanatics. Fancash is the top reason bettors choose to bet with Fanatics Sportsbook, and here's why. When you bet with Fanatics Sportsbook, you get Fancash, win or lose. You can then redeem your Fancash on anything Fanatics. Fresh apparel from Mitchell & Ness, rare collectibles, trading cards, and of course, bonus bets with the Sportsbook. It's a rewards program, but for those sports betting. So all those bets you make, win or lose, get you closer to something awesome. Also, new customers don't miss a special welcome offer. Sign up and use promo code Glory Daze to get $200 in bonus bets when you place your first bet of $20 or more. Download Fanatics Sportsbook and get in on the fan cash. And maybe you'll get a cool nickname like me too.
Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut residents, call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts residents, call 800-327-5050. New York residents, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland residents, visit mdgambling-help.org.
Now let's get back to the show. Get drafted first overall in 11. Most rushing TDs in a single season ever by a QB. Break Peyton Manning's rookie passing yards record and the first ever rookie QB to throw for 4K. You said you didn't think Auburn knew, what you were bringing to the table. Do you think Carolina knew?
Well, they found out. You know what I'm saying? But, man, I had guys in the locker room like Charles Johnson. I had guys in the locker room like Thomas Davis, Steve Smith, Ryan Khalil, Jordan Gross, John Beeson. These guys allowed me to be me. And it wasn't no pressure. You know what I'm saying? And it was this sense of, we know who you are. Bring that juice with you here, because we're ready and we're going to follow you, right? And when you have that type of support, and when you have guys like TD who are constantly, your accountability partner in the weight room, bro, come on, bro. He's like that bigger brother that's going to check you, like, would you want to fight? Come on, like, do the reps. Hey, bro, you're late. Come on, man. Like that's what I needed. You know what I'm saying? Steve Smith was a person who was a firecracker that played with an edge, that he spoke my language like that, like how to represent yourself, and have that chip on your shoulder, right? And I learned from those guys. And when I got to Carolina, rest in peace to the owner, Mr. Richardson, he was always in constant communication with me when people knew and when people didn't know. Marty Herney, Coach Rivera, and then even, Coach Shula, as I mentioned, like, these guys really invested a lot of grace and patience during that time, because I was a great player. I knew that. Everybody knew that. I was a terrible teammate. You know what I'm saying? Because when you look at my tenure, Number one, I was at University of Florida for 2 years, was not the guy there. I go to junior college where I was the guy there, but I was only there for 365 days. Fast forward, go to Auburn. The impact was undeniable, but I was only there for a year. I wasn't used to having sustainability and knowing how to build. Instead of speaking with guys, I didn't expect to be anywhere long. So I would just shut down. I didn't know how to verbalize my emotions to the team I never lashed out. I never was that guy. I just had to learn. Expressing myself was extremely important, and it was needed, especially when you're dealing with men. Alphas in a locker room is just like, yo, bro, like, what's up with him? Why he ain't talking? And I wasn't used to losing.
Yeah.
Like, I won everywhere that I went. High school, lost in the state championship. You know what I'm saying? Like, go to college, man. You see the dynasty at University of Florida, win a national championship at Juco, win a national championship at Auburn.
You probably only experienced 2 losses throughout that,
in
if that.
4 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't something to get used to. And then losing the first game, it was just like, what? Records was broken, but it's like, bro, we didn't win. That type of challenge was going to take and require a different version of me. And that's what Carolina taught me.
You know, there's one guy who came out recently with some incredible things to say about you, Luke Kuechly. Did you see this? I'm going to show you a clip right now. I want to show it to you and get your thoughts on it.
There's a lot of things I loved about Cam. There's a couple things that he did that I don't think necessarily get enough credit. I don't think I ever saw Cam yell at somebody, get mad at somebody, call somebody out in a negative way. I don't think he ever blamed anybody, and I always appreciated that about it. If the snap was too high, he's like, I'll get it. If he threw a bad ball, he's like, hey, what can I do better? And in the games, he was just relentlessly competitive, and he was so tough. The toughness that Cam had was something that doesn't get talked about enough, and he didn't always need to say things, but if you just watched him and watched how he treated people and watched how he worked and watched how he would get hit and get back up and watch him run through defenders to get first downs, you kind of understood that, hey, like, toughness for us isn't negotiable. Our quarterback is running through guys' faces and getting up and doing dances and flexing and scoring touchdowns. And you kind of just said, hey, you know what? This is the standard for what this football team is about. This is our quarterback. This is what he wants. We're going to do the same thing he's doing.
Yeah, man.
Obviously, you know, that's a guy who is an absolute legend at his position, probably one of the best.
To get respect, that's all I wanted. Still to this day, I respect everybody. And nobody, it's like, you could be respectful, but still acknowledging the obvious in certain things. But for me, I only knew one way to play. And it sucks sometimes, vulnerable moment, that your career is hinged on one clip, not diving on the fumble. And it's like, that's not me. I'm so embarrassed of that clip, not necessarily from the fans' perspective, but it reigns so important to even how I father. Because I don't care about touchdowns. I don't care about success. I care about effort. And that one clip is what's on people's tongues when they're explaining, like, oh, Cam, like, oh, you didn't dive on. Yeah, it's cool. And I'm haunted with that daily. So when I do speak to the Anthony Richardsons, when I do speak to the Shadors, when I do speak to the Jalens and the Lamars, it's not coming off of hate. This is coming off of a crash dummy that is telling you, like, bro, I've been there. You know what I'm saying? And it sucks that you can't control what people say, but I just would have always hoped that people see something and felt impacted to implement it in their own game.
As you speak of QBs today, let's go over your 2025 top 10 list. Josh Allen,
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Matthew Stafford,
Yep.
Jared Goff, Jaden Daniels, C.J. Stroud, Justin Herbert, and Baker.
Yeah.
To be honest, if I'm looking at this list, I don't see nothing wrong with it whatsoever.
Yeah.
At all. You want to make any changes to this at all, huh?
I wouldn't. But even though, like, we're talking ball here, right? And in this dynamic, we're just creating content.
Of course.
I'm talking about content that I always live by these three principles. You got to entertain, you have to impact, and you also have to empower. So as I empower a person to say, like, hey, Jalen Hurts is not there. It only can be 10 quarterbacks. But when you start to say, Jalen's not more talented than a Baker, he definitely is. Is he more talented than a Matthew Stafford? Absolutely. But what the statistics say, I must empower you to let you know that Jared Goff has a fully loaded clip going into war, and he threw the second most yards in the NFL. With J-Bo, Amon-Ra St. Brown, plethora of tight ends and running backs. Then you say Joe Burrow also has probably the best tandem or the two receiver duo in the NFL, but he still throws for 70% completion percentage. When you start going off the numbers and not just off of who it is, strip the names from the back of the jerseys, and then you'll start comparing the contrast and saying, Baker Mayfield, bro, you threw 41 tuds, 9 interceptions. That's out of
4,500 yards.
Like we're not used to seeing that from Baker. So why shun Baker just to, like, bro? We all see the game in a different lens, and I'm not here to just ride the wave of like, yeah, well, more talented, yes. Are you talking skill, or are you talking about what has been done? And I think oftentimes in our position, people attack the pointer and not the point. They attack the message, or they attack the messenger and not the message. And yeah, I understand who I am. I walk proudly in who I am. The shift in media, not just sports, but just media as a whole, now gives athletes the opportunity to control their narrative.
Also, for a long time, we've only heard football opinions or people talk about the game like this from people who have never stepped foot on a football field.
Hello.
Ever. So now to have people in the media coming out and speaking who have been at the highest level, played at the highest level for years and years, you would have to think that there's more credibility there than somebody who's never done that.
Yeah, but we don't attack that person.
No, of course not. They're validated in their opinions as well.
And I respect it. And I think the athlete in me, let's say 5 years ago, I probably would not have appreciated the Stephen A. Smiths like I do now, the Skip Baylesses like I do now, the Colin Cowherds like I do now. Working alongside with these individuals now show you a different level of preparation on a different wavelength. But that still doesn't negate what you know as well, too. We're all creating content. You know what I'm saying? We all talking through microphones. We're not on the field. You know what I'm saying? We're definitely not fighting.
Yeah.
So it's like, who can impact, empower, and entertain the most? And it's impressive to see the things that I've said create such a wave that it's like, hold on, hey, but I want to remind people, like, hey, there's still entertainment here.
For sure.
And I just want to be the best at it.
I don't think there's no malice or anything behind it or looking at anything. Something that I was thinking about today when I see the content and I see the clips of everything. What happens if you put Jalen Hurts on one of those Carolina Panthers teams?
I don't want to play that game, because I think me playing that game feeds into what they want.
Probably right.
And I always make this point, and it never gets picked up. Jalen Hurts as an individual is probably one of the most stand-up guys that this league probably has ever seen.
I couldn't agree more.
The way he handles himself, the way he's handled the expectations, the ways that he has been able to move and maneuver. It's been something that needs to be studied.
For sure.
And I hate that I'm stuck in between a situation where I'm putting him in a situation that, number one, he cannot defend himself. Because as we were talking prior, when you're playing, there's a level of like, what are you going to feed and what is just going to, you just going to, wave the white flag or get out of the jail free card. But for that, it's like, I don't want to get too personal with me and Jalen because I have no quarrels, I have no bitterness, I have no hatred, no animosity towards Jalen because people want that to happen. And I fell victim to that already in a way where it's like, man, I don't want to compare.
For sure.
I don't want to say, what I would have done with his roster. That's lazy media for me.
For sure.
I think rather than saying that, ask this question. When you talk about those top 5 teams or those top 5 or those top 10 players, let's do a QB shuffle. Shuffle the quarterbacks amongst those teams that they have. And do you have the same or if not better result? Put Jalen Hurts on the Bengals. Put Joe Burrow on the Eagles. It's anything that would change there. Put Lamar Jackson on the Buffalo Bills. Put Josh Allen on the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
Those are the comparables that it's like, hey, let's take me out of it. Like, I could stand toe-to-toe with anybody, but it's like when we're playing this media game, this analytical game, this controversy or this debate game, what does that look like? And does anything change, right? Does Matthew Stafford get enough credit by having a Cooper Kupp and a Puka Nacua, which are top-tier receivers in their own right? But all right, well, could you put Lamar Jackson in the LA Rams, and do they have the same success or are they better? Those are the debates that I would like to challenge these media pundits and even fans to just have that.
I think the thing, if you really look at this list too, and it's kind of just a big 4 right now.
Yeah.
As far as guys who are separated from the rest of the list. I would say after Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Mahomes, and Burrow, Stafford's been in the game a long time, but after those top 4, there is
you could go however you want to go.
Yeah. However,
but this is even another knee slapper. They all are in the AFC. Where did Jaden Daniels come from? Impressive.
No doubt.
No
doubt.
Playing in the league is no hop, jump, and a skip. And I think this is the thing that people must understand. It's sustained success. It's not just the one, it's the sustained success and who are you being compared to and with. I remember during that time when I was playing in Carolina, the NFC South was probably the top 3 competitive divisions in the sport. Why? Because you had Drew Brees, Hall of Famer, Matt Ryan, you can argue as a Hall of Famer, myself, and then depending on Tampa, they had Josh Freeman, they had Jameis, but they were still a competitive team.
For sure.
Depending on what it was. Now when you look around the league, there's a lot of different competitive divisions, but there's also the teams that it's like it could be anybody come from this particular side. And I think that's what I look at when I'm looking at the NFC. You will hope that Jaden Daniels gets better, but it's contingent on, number one, health and just growth. Now, the AFC has C.J. Stroud. The AFC has the Fantastic Four that we already spoke on. And God, as a fan, you're like, that's a great time to be in that division to rep your team. Then on the NFC side, it's just like it's a flip. What does Dak have to say about this? Then you start to say, hey, Baker, was that a fluke? Hey, Jaden, hey, sophomore slump is a real thing, guy. But he has the talent to compete, and I'm excited to see that. So as you keep going, obviously Jalen and the Eagles as a whole, when you start looking at the Detroit Lions as a whole, those guys, it's some real guys. And then the Trevor Lawrence, like, will we see the best of him this year?
Are we going to see the best of – can we get a season from Kyler Murray like we know that's in there?
Brock Purdy. Like, bro, it's so much that you can kind of go, but it's more defined in the AFC more so than the NFC. And that's not a slight. It's just like, yo, it's more –
the facts of what it is.
It's just the facts. You got a younger, more unproven, consistently proven wavelength in the NFC versus the AFC, where they're the torch holders, so to speak. You got between Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson, they probably, and I don't know if this to be true, don't quote me, but within the last 10 years, it's one of those three. And that's Nutty Professor.
Yeah. What do you need to see out of a Jalen Hurts this season to be in that top 10 list?
First off, Jalen Hurts has top 5
ability, talent, hands down.
And I want people to hear that. That never was my argument. Are we going off of the numbers? Are we going off of, hey, more times than not, when we're talking about a game on the line, and he has shown time and the time again, putting his best performances for when they need him the most.
For sure.
Super Bowls, man, crushing it. Even in the first Super Bowl, played lights out. But when you start comparing and contrasting, as you know, in sports, especially quarterback, the most important statistic in all of sports is win and loss.
Of course.
Okay, after the win and loss, let's kind of shelve that to the side real quick, and you start talking about, okay, passing yards. Okay, how efficient are you? Okay, what's your interception touchdown ratio? Hey, how do you perform on third and fourth down? Got to have it moments. 2-minute drill when the game's on the line. Those type of situations, that's how you judge quarterbacks. And you do have to have the ability to still throw it. He can throw it. Mm-hmm. He still has to have the ability to make plays. He can make plays. I just think the engine that he's operating his car at is different than how other people use their car.
It's also kind of, I mean, you're asked to do what you need to do for your team as well.
And he's a example of
he fits perfectly for what they're trying to do with the pieces that they have, with what their running game looks like, with what their defense is.
Right.
He's not asked to do the same, doesn't have to do, not asked to do the same things that a Joe Burrow has to do in Cincinnati.
This is the thing, though, and it's no slight. It's not that he cannot do it. That's the thing. He's extremely talented. Everybody can agree to that. He's not like a slob. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
He's
no
not a
scrub.
slappy. It's like, yo, bro, like you're Jalen Hurts. When you start looking at other quarterbacks around the league, like when you look at a Dak, that's why he's measured so high. It's like, bro, you're making a 60 ball. Like, bro, what's a hammy? Bro, we need you to go win it. Like, you strapping us. Like, you got to play for the third and the fourth player that we would have been able to get had you. But it is what it is.
Hey, real quick, I want to give a big shout out to our amazing sponsor, Athletic Nicotine. If you're looking for a clean, sustainable energy boost without the jitters, this one's for you. Athletic Nicotine offers the lowest dose, slow release, tobacco-free nicotine made right here in the USA. And it's free from artificial sweeteners and microplastics. Whether you're an athlete, a biohacker, or someone who just loves getting into that flow state, this product is designed to gradually lift your energy, helping you stay focused and sharp without crashing. It's perfect for shifting your mindset and keeping you in the zone all day long. I use Athletic Nicotine when I'm prepping for my interviews for Glory Daze and really need to lock in and take the edge off. Or sometimes I throw one in before a big speaking engagement with a lot of stress to really get myself honed in. It's the perfect performance tool to sharpen your mind. Ready to level up your focus? Head over to www.athleticnicotine.com/Johnny to grab yours today. Now let's get back to the show. Now let's take it back a little bit. Let's get into, the Glory Daze. I watched the Swamp Kings doc. My only question as I'm sitting there kind of watching the whole thing is, where's Cam? Fill me in on the number one story. It wasn't in there.
I'll give you 5 people that they should have interviewed. Percy Harvin.
Yep.
Charlie Strong. The Pouncey twins. Myself. Riley Cooper.
For sure.
It's only but so much you can do with an hour and 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. That's just the reality of television. Saw yours, the same untold thing. And, bro, I was so moved through it. And my regret that I have is I wish we had a relationship while you were playing. Because say whatever you want to say about Cam Newton. I always kept what you had to say about Cam Newton on the field. No domestic violence, no DUI, No, none of that. I always kept the main thing the main thing. That's not to say I didn't have a blast. That didn't say that I didn't have a time. It was just certain ways I knew how to move, and I was always alert to the guys. The OGs were, I like how they moved. I didn't even need to ask them. I was always peeping to see that. But to the Florida doc, I see that, and I'm like, it's so many different missing pieces. But make no mistake about it, like it was a roller coaster. I'm talking emotional, physical, and Urban Meyer did a great job with engineering a roster that was supposed to sustain at least 5 years, at least. But when you, as you know, it's only but so many thugs that you can have on a team. It's only but so many choir boys that you can have on a team. There's so many church boys, and then, you know, the rebellious guys. You got to have a perfect blend of that. And while talking to a guy like Charlie Strong, because he was the unsung head coach, you didn't necessarily always have to go to Herb, but you go to Strong. And he gonna kick it to you straight. He had so much relatability there, knew how to talk. He was a black coach. He knew how to schmooze to get his point across. And Herb was just the overseer, so to speak. And that's not saying that it wasn't stressful, because everywhere that I've been has been stressful. You know what I'm saying? Just from middle school to high school, like, man, what Cam at? And when you got a whole team full of a Cam, a Joe Hayden, Tim Tebow, who's probably the most polarizing player at that time, still to this day, you know, the Percys, the Lewis Murphys, the Major Wrights, the Brandon Spikes, Pouncey twins, so much personality, and everybody wants this. Everybody wants the ball. You only got one ball and 11 go-getters. How do you manage that? Good luck.
It's tough.
Not that, like, you got Deontay Thompson, Carl Moore, Bubba Caldwell, Cornelius Ingram. Like, these guys were people and major pillars in my life that I saw and was like, oh yeah, he got the, yeah, he liked that. Everybody was a 5-star. It was like, wait, what? Man, pull up your tape. Let me see your tape. Well, matter of fact, don't worry about it. I'm gonna go to Rivals and see. Man, he really ain't even that good. Like, that's how we judged it. And the thing about that time that I don't necessarily know still exists in college now, or especially like youth sports, we paid homage to those guys. We wanted to gain their respect. And by doing that, it was like, bro, we got to whoop them. Like, what's up?
What's
like
up?
Basketball. And it was if it ain't no blood, it ain't no foul. And after the game, it was very contentious. It was still respect there. And depending on how you performed during that game, I respected the locker room, knowing that every great team that I've been on, one thing was always true. The players ran the locker room. Hey, bro, you tripping. What you doing? Man, come on, man. Pay attention. Wake up, bro. Go, man, come on. Stand up. And if you didn't perform, like, bro, you're trash. Go argue with your mama. Go argue with that wall, bro. You trash, bro. And that's how it was.
As you join that team, you get into that program. What's the biggest thing that you take away, you know, as you leave Florida, you move on to your next chapter of what you're going to do? What's the biggest thing you think you took away from your time there?
Mentality.
Yeah.
Tim Tebow's mentality was unmatched. You felt his presence. He knew that you knew he was that guy in the most cockiest, humble way as possible. Prepared his tail off, worked hard, and led by example, and was also a verbal leader as well, too. And when you leave there, you would be just the dumbest person not to incorporate that in your play. I think I learned football for the first time at Florida. I didn't know what an under defense was, an over defense, what a bracket coverage was. And I hated being the dummy in the room. So they forced me to, like, hey, Cam, what's that? And either you're going to shrink or you're going to grow. And for the first time, it was like, yeah, I was talented. I've always said it. I always felt talented wasn't my issue. Coming from Atlanta is something different. It's like mentality. It's like, man, am I going to stay disciplined to keep stacking these days? Even when I don't even need the credit or the credentials or the notoriety from the coach to say, hey, man, Cam, good job. Hey, good practice. I was needing that. You know, as a 5-star, it's like, oh, man, everybody's telling you how good you are, but you got a giant in front of you. It's like, you start, like, am I good? But still through it all, bro, you just got to keep fighting.
As you make this decision, you know, I saw where you're like, you know, I came to Florida to play.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, looking at the situation with what it was, you didn't feel like that was going to happen. What made Blinn the choice? Because being from Texas, I remember being on Rivals.
Yeah.
Like fucking clockwork back in these days. Once he was getting recruited, going where. Yeah. And I remember you picking Blinn. And obviously being in the state of Texas, I'm like, damn, okay, let's see this. And then to go on an absolute tear there.
Yeah.
What was that decision like? Obviously, leaving Florida, you're one of the best schools in the SEC, and then you get dropped in Brenham.
Yeah. I learned more about livestock and real cowboys. Like, it was just a detox of like, man, where am I? But I owe everything, and I mean everything, to my father. He did all the research, working hand in hand with the administration and the coaches. And when I went out there, the last words that my father told me, son, just be a man. I wanted people to remember and know of me, because it's easy for you to be forgotten there. So many players, so many talent. And you know the stigma about a junior college player. It's like either you're not good enough and you still need time to develop, or you did something stupid and that's why you're there where you are. We didn't have transfer portal. We didn't have the ability to say, you know what, I'm about to go in conference to the rival and do that. You had to get it out the mud, but I needed it because while at Florida, even though I saw a lot, even though I developed a lot, I also battled insecurities, where my greatest asset has always been confidence. I didn't have confidence when I was there. It didn't matter what I did at practice, to not get acknowledged was something that I did not, it didn't go well for me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying this in a way like, attaboy, good job. Like, no, it was just, it didn't matter what I did. I wasn't going to play, no matter how great of a, we're battling for a backup spot. What is that? I'm not a backup, bro. So when I got to Blinn, I was in search of my confidence again. So I went to Florida as Cameron. I left Blinn as Cam. Was your time at A&M, that was the first time A&M was
first year
in the SEC?
Mm-hmm.
So you knew that brand of ball was a little different.
For sure.
Not just the brand of ball, the atmosphere was just a little crazy.
I don't think we even knew it, like thinking back about what it was. When I redshirted my first year, I went and got to travel as a redshirt and go to all the road games and see what the Big 12 was. It was cool.
Yeah.
But it didn't prepare nothing. One game I redshirt year, the Texas game, was the only game we had that entire redshirt year that even came close to the environment of the SEC. Week in, week out.
Bro, and I tell people, it's different, bro. The passion. It was almost like when I came into the NFL, I was like, yo, this it? You know what I'm saying? It was like, Panthers fans, we are on our consecutive sold-out game. It's like 60,000. Like, bro, I'm used to 90,000 belligerent fans. I'm talking about that will tell you about yourself, tell your mama about herself, tell your girl. They going to do all that research. It's like, golly. And that atmosphere is second to none. The SEC now is different. The game has shifted. And the transfer portal is a game changer. And I don't know if it's a game changer for a good reason or a game changer for a bad reason, but it's definitely a game changer.
The roster's changed so much.
So much.
You don't know. You can go from being a team that went 4-8 to a team that goes 10, wins 10 or 11 games really quick.
Look at Indiana. You know what I'm saying? Like, Indiana last year was in the college football playoffs.
And that's a team you would have never thought would have ever been in that position.
You see the Notre Dames, you see the Ohio States and the Texases who invest so much into their programs with the NIL collective. And now it's like, even though it makes it competitive on the college scale, but does the players have the maturity to understand what it's like? Think about it this way. The Letterman jacket era is over.
Gone.
It's crazy. Like, bro, think about that. The Letterman, like, you would wear a Letterman jacket of 4-year starter, 3-year starter, 2-year starter, captain, blah, blah, blah. Man, these kids now can have 4 different Letterman jackets from 4 different schools.
Not to mention you're walking into your dorm room or it's not even, they're not in dorms anymore. You're walking in, you see checks on the counter.
And you don't have to sneak it. Like, yeah, just put it right there. Put it right there.
Just pile it up with the other ones.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hold on, slide it. Hey, bro, go get that. Yeah, all right, cool. Boy, ain't that. I just hope, and this message goes to any collegiate athlete, male or female, you're reaping the benefits today that once upon a time somebody was suspended for, and they lost their whole eligibility. Having 5 touchdown games, 6 touchdown games, and going back to your dorm like begging for a pizza or begging just for
taking 10 plates from the football
bro,
facility.
Like, you know, taking all the Gatorades and the power, just stashing them. Like, these were survival tactics as an athlete during that time that you had to do to survive, knowing that your effort and energy and blood and everything went towards propelling a university. And I get it. Trust, I do get it. But I think amateur athletics is dead. It goes really middle school rec ball to semi-pro, because you can now start getting NIL
in high school.
And then right after high school, you're a professional athlete. By no means am I saying that they should not get paid, but what I am saying is you have to make sure above the head you're able to be mature enough to walk in whatever comes with the expectation. Because it's wild. Like $3 million, that's 17, 18, you know, financially you're rich. Realistically, you're broke though. And that's the danger.
The main thing is, you know, as great as it is, you know, the real goal of what you want to do being a college football player is get to that second contract
the
NFL. The one that changes generations.
For sure. It was always that. Like anybody.
But now you go to the school you're committed to as a freshman. You ball out. You're all conference, whatever it may be. Now somebody comes to you after the season, yo, here's $6 million. That's $6 million. Somebody came up to me that's 17 years old, and yo, here's 6 M's.
Pew.
Ow.
Pew.
What does that do to you?
Pew.
It's hard to keep your head in a place where you're like, okay, I'm still thinking I want to get to the NFL, right? I want to get to the show. I want to get to that contract. But seeing 2 commas already at 17, 18 years old is
before the decimal. Not seeing it after the decimal.
It's crazy.
You see a guy or you see a situation like Quinn Ewers. I think his time in Texas was up, but I don't think his time in college was up.
I agree.
You see what I'm saying?
I agree.
A guy like Carson Beck, who, if he would have went to the league, would he have even gotten drafted? But it's reported that he makes upwards of $3 million. You mean to tell me a top-tier college program would not have paid top dollar for a Quinn Ewers?
100%. I think he makes $8 million.
Easily. And drives his stock value for the next coming year.
One thing I think we don't talk about enough either is with how many people are transferring around in the portal and stuff, the high school recruit, how many people are really getting taken from a high school and getting scholarship offers, that pool has diminished.
For sure.
Immensely.
And when you talk to coaches, though, you ask a coach, say, hey, would you rather have an immature, entitled 5-star kid at 17 Or would you rather have the 19, 20-year-old guy who's ready to perform now, who knows what the expectations is for him now?
Who's been sitting behind somebody, not getting any burn.
You don't have, hey, Cam, where you at? You got class, bro. You got psychology. I'm here. The class checkers are always, jotting this person. They don't want to deal with that. And I think, if anything, we're talking about the transfer portal being, something that should be looking at serious from a commissioner standpoint. But if I'm a high school athlete, I fear the transfer portal.
Absolutely.
Because now your status and your stock has now been watered down because they can find a more mature you that's ready to go now. And I don't think coaches even have contracts that they can develop properly now.
If you got 25 scholarships that you're getting out every year now, I would say probably more than half, around half, are coming from the transfer portal.
15 easily.
Easily. So that leaves you 12 spots when it used to be a full 25 clip for the most part.
Real talk. Rick Pitino made it abundantly clear. We're not recruiting no high school athletes right now. We're taking all our talent from the transfer portal. What?
For all the things you just mentioned.
For all the reasons. And you're talking to a person who is heavily involved in youth sports, 7-on-7. And I see these kids come in and day out. And I'm the head diffuser to let them know, like, bro, you have, I got 62 offers. Bro, but 4 are really committable, right? And you ask anybody who says this outrageous number of offers, ask them to say the offers. And they'll tell you and they'll prove to you, it's like, yeah. But when you start to ask that question and for them to realize, like, hey, coaches ain't dealing with, they're on a, we got to win now. So therefore, they're going to invest their time, energy, and effort to the people who know that they want to win now. And developing a child or developing an athlete may come at a cost to say, I'm not willing to wait that long for you to get your stuff together.
You've weighed in a lot on Arch Manning at Texas. Obviously a really polarizing guy who will get a chance to really see what he's made of this year. As you look at the college football season this year, who do you feel like has a good chance to win the Heisman or a candidate for it? I think Arch will make a decent run at that.
The Heisman goes not just to the most magnificent and outstanding college football player in that year. It also goes to the most polarizing story.
I think we saw a great example of that this last year.
That's not to say Travis wasn't deserving.
Absolutely not. But if you look at it from a pure who,
bro,
Ashton Genty was
for sure
that guy.
Ashton's situation was similar to C-Mac's situation. When you pair what happened to Ashton versus what happened to C-Mac, C-Mac had Derrick Henry. And King Henry ran through and constantly running through competitions left and right. It's no denying that. But when you have nationally televised games and platforms, dun, 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 and then by the time Ashton Genty's on, everybody's out, bar crawling. You know what I'm saying? It's like, who is that? A highlight? Is that a real game that's going on right now? Oh, sweet. And you have to go over and beyond to perform in hopes that nobody who has those national games perform. So now when you look at a guy like Arch, it's like, oh, Texas is back. You know what I'm saying? The hype is there for him to take it. I hope, barring any type of injury, I think he has everything,
preloaded and ready to go.
Oh yeah, it's already set. You know what I'm saying? From talent around him to him being talented, to him having that last name, to it's just, bro, you
the
ready.
Conference, the schedule of who they're going to run through, everything. Last week Ron Rivera said you were so special at the QB position that he could have gotten 15 more years in Carolina if you hadn't hurt your shoulder in 16. How do you feel about that?
Man, I had a conversation early in my career with Mike Shula. And this was during the time where he was trying to teach me how to slide. Because at the time, like even dating back in college, I never slid, but I never took. I was always the deliverer of the shot, right? The aggressor, the hammer. by not sliding, I would just dive in an unorthodox way at the defender as they was approached, and it was effective for me for years. But it just looked weird. Like as I was running, I see a defender coming, then I would just kind of dive at his ankles because that would take his force away, right? I started trying to do that in the league, and Shula was like, no, we got to teach you how to slide. Like, we need to get you, 15, 17 years. And I was like, but do I really want that, though? I'm going to give you a good number, and I know I'm going to be able to play the game my way. It's no doubt, could I have played longer? Yes. Did I want to play longer? Yeah. But my style, I knew also it wasn't a recipe for longevity. But looking back at it, would you change? Would I change? Absolutely not. No way.
I think it's just kind of part of what the game is too. I mean, you play your whole life one way, and you kind of live with that, right? You live by the sword, die by the sword type of thing. And if it turns out to be, I don't think me playing in college, I don't feel like I slid very much either. I was very much in the same way of diving down at ankles or just like making sure when the shot's coming to get down. Only really one time did it ever come back to bite me where I just, playing against Auburn at home and just a little too late and the guy fell on me, shoulder. But it happens. Yeah. If you're a quarterback and you're running the ball as much as we ran the ball,
for sure.
It's one of those things that it's gonna happen.
You're not a quarterback at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
You're a runner.
For sure.
And as a runner, I think more times than not, you learn this indirectly, but how to fall. You know what I'm saying? You see the masters of the craft. It's like, all right, this play serves no more. Let me get down, right? But then also when you're getting hit, how can you? It's like a boxer. How can you roll with the punch, right, to take the blow off of you? And doing that for so long, dating back to rec ball to high school to college, and you start learning. When guys start to gear up, like what's the weakest spot that you can kind of go at, and that'll take the girth off the hit, so to speak.
I guess, in your position too, being the aggressor as you're being a runner and like delivering those blows, did you feel like when you got to the NFL, like that it was different, that you couldn't like necessarily like punish people like as much as you could like in college?
Nothing about me going from college to the NFL changed mentally.
Yeah.
There was times where, all right, this guy's bigger than me, or he got a running start and I don't, and I'm not going to take that shot. Okay, hey, it's 4th and 1. I don't care who's in. I don't give if it's a wall there. I still have to,
go get it.
Go get it. But that's the thing. Like when you look at how we played, right? And I don't really remember a time where you just took why you take that hit though? And you can never see that on none of my hits. It's like, why would Cam take that hit? Like, get down. Yeah. Every time you see me run, I was the aggressor. And if I was not, I knew I was smart enough to get down to alleviate that hit being taken.
Ron Rivera also said, when people talk about QBs today, they don't mention you as much as you deserve. Do you think you're given enough credit for how much you changed and elevated the QB position, especially with what we look around in the league now and see that it's dual threats?
Yeah, I don't search for that type of validation. When I came into the NFL, it was such a taboo thing to play how I played. Now, granted, before I got there, RPO in the NFL was non-existent.
Didn't exist.
It was like, I remember the first time I even brought it to our offensive staff. Is like, yo, like, give me an option to read the defender. All right, well, they were saying, well, we have traps, where traps is the inner line, right? The 3-tech or the shade. Then you start having zone reads, which you take it from the end man on the line of scrimmage, and that could be a defensive end or a linebacker. Well, now you start doing RPOs where it takes it a step further, where now you're reading a linebacker or you're reading a box defender. And when we first started running it in practice, it was such a successful play that it's like, okay, we need to start implementing it. Then once a game, then 2 and 3 times a game. And I think the question from the coaches was, how can you properly read this in a split second? And it just happens. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
if you were to just think about how fast you have to identify, catch the ball, eye this defender, am I going to hand it, am I going to pull it and run, or am I going to pull it to throw? And I don't think a lot of quarterbacks get that much respect. It's like, bro, you're just not out there just mashing buttons. Like,
For sure.
you know, it's
fast.
It's fast.
And you have to have, you know, a good idea of what it's going to be pre-snap
Yeah.
to make it a little bit easier on yourself. But still, you know, when you get into a game and you really have that end on the line of scrimmage, it really is like a bang, bang type of play to go three
Right.
different ways.
And that play could either be an old snap play for two ends of the spectrum. So it could be like, oh, snap, like, get it, or it's like touchdown, oh, snap, right? So a lot of those things, man. But, you know, to your point, when I first came in, it was not a lot of the philosophy that we see today. And dare I say, you know, don't get enough credit, because I see my appreciation comes when I do see a Josh Allen, when I do see a Lamar Jackson, when I do see, you know, Johnny Manziels, when I do see the Jalen Hurts, when I do see the Kyler Murrays, and these guys have made a major impact in a way where, going back to 2011, being a dual threat, you're now a minority quarterback, no matter what color you were. Being a pro-style quarterback only, you're now the minority.
For sure.
Everybody has some type of athleticism at the quarterback position, and it's mandatory now.
Yeah, it is. For sure. You know, we talked a lot of special moments, obviously, today. You know, this podcast is called Glory Daze, you know, for a reason. So always in the show by asking, you know, our guests the same question. You know, if you had to choose one word to define your glory days, what word are you choosing?
Iconic. Frank Sinatra said it best. I did it my way. You know what I'm saying? Bro, and this is why, like, I'm a fan of athletes. Not teams, but athletes. And the greatest homage that an athlete can pay another athlete is doing their signature, whatever, from dressing like the person or, you know, celebrating like the person. And when I would see you do, you know, the Superman thing, and I would see Jalen do the Superman thing, and other athletes do the Superman thing, I was like, yo, bro, I did it my way. It came with a cost. Definitely came with a cost.
For sure.
Being iconic was not something that I led with. It just ended up being that, especially when you go into a situation, you know, where you're representing two states, North Carolina and South Carolina, and being a beacon of hope. That's all I wanted. Like, I wanted the people there to realize that, man, you got a warrior that's going to ride till the wheels fall off. And it definitely did. So while that engine and them wheels was fresh, bro, I gave you all that I had. And I don't regret anything.
As you shouldn't. Man, I could sit here and do this all day with you for sure. But, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate how our friendship has been growing throughout the last couple years and will continue moving forward. Unbelievable throughout my lens of being able to watch your career, how it all played out. Truly iconic in every sense of the way. You paved a huge path for me and a ton of other guys. You know, I think I speak for a lot of people when we say we're thankful for that and what you've done on a football field, off of it, and who you are. For everybody watching the show, go watch 4th and 1, man. Go really tap into what this guy's doing on a weekly basis, because it's the most entertaining thing in sports, in my opinion. I'm having a lot of fun watching it. But my man, Cam Newton, one of one.
Appreciate you.
The best.
Thank you.